Hi everyone, glad to have you back. And in this video, we will solve programs under the topic of arrays using Python in Codekata. And now let's start with the first question. In the first question, we are provided with an array, print an element which is repeated twice. This is a pretty simple question, and now let's start coding. To begin with, we declare A as an input in order to receive input in two lines. And in the second line, we obtain the input of the list using the variable array. Further, we declare an empty list in order to store the variable which is repeated twice. So we declare a variable C, and in order to check the number of elements which are repeated twice in an array, we declare a for loop and check the count of each array element against each other. Thus, we declare a if condition statement which states if an array element is repeated twice, we store the particular value in our empty list C which we have declared before, and we add an additional nested if statement that if the variable is not in the predefined empty list C, it should not be stored in the list in order to prevent the repetition of the particular element in the array, and hence we print all the elements in the list C, and thus this code would pass all the test cases. Now let's move to the next question. In this question, we have to input an integer value and print only the odd numbers present in each digit separated by spaces. And if there is no odd number, we have to print -1. I think the logic to the code is pretty simple, and let's start to code. We declare A as an input variable, and we further declare n as an input value of the variable A. We input the number in both string and integer value for the sake of ease of computation in the further cases. Further, we declare an empty list in order to store the odd numbers present in the input value. We declare an for loop under which we state an if condition statement which stores a value of odd variables or values in our empty list. Thus, this for loop repeatedly checks all the digits in the particular integer value and stores the odd numbers present in the given input. As mentioned in the question, if there are no odd digits present in the given input, we have to print -1. Therefore, we declare an if statement. If the length of our array is greater than 1, we print all the elements in the array, else we print -1, and thus we submit this code. Now let's pass to the next question. In this third question, we are required to print the duplicate values or the common IDs. If no such common IDs are present, we would print -1, stating that the list is unique. As of the previous questions we have encountered, we would apply the similar logic here, where we would get an input in the two lines and we declare an empty list in order to store the duplicate values or common IDs as mentioned in the question. So we get the input as we have previously discussed, and we declare a for loop for the elements in array. And here we check if the particular array element is repeated more than twice, then we store it under the empty list which we have declared earlier, and thus we print the elements in our empty list. If it is again empty, we print -1. So for the satisfaction, let's submit this code and we will move to the next question. This fourth question of this video is a little tricky one. So the storyline of the question goes in this manner, that Loki wants to steal the Tesseract, but in order to do so, he has to rearrange the elements in an array, which should be done in a specific manner according to a clue. And the clue states that the cursed are the odd and sorted are the even, which means that the array index value or the values present in the odd index position of an array should be left without any disturbance. Yet the values present in the even index position in an array should be sorted in an ascending order, thus leaving the values in the odd position undisturbed. I hope the question is clear, and now let's step to the code. As we have discussed in the previous three questions, we declare the same type of input values, but here the only thing we do, but unlike that, we have to add 3 other empty lists for this question in order to store the values present in the odd and even indices of an array. And the third list would be used to combine these two lists and to print the list in a manner just sorting the even indices value of a given list. So to proceed, we declare a for loop in the range of the size of array. We classify and store the values of the variables present in the even and odd indices using if conditions and sort the elements present in the even indices in ascending order. So till now we have classified the array elements with respect to the index positions. Now we have to join them together as it was mentioned earlier in the sample input. So we use another list named array in order to join these two lists in a perfect manner according to their index positions. Here the output should not simply be produced by adding these two arrays. We have to print each element one after another in the array from both the lists. Thus, we use for loop in the range of length of the even indexes because it would be always greater than the odd one, and we append the individual values of those both array and we print them collectively as a simple output. Thus, this code would pass all the test cases provided, and we will move to the next question. In this final question, we have to print the smallest number in the right hand side of each array element. Thus, if we observe the series, the numbers lesser than the previous integer values have been printed up to its particular index position. Further, if there no longer exists a smaller number than the number itself, we have to print -1 for the remaining indices. I hope the question is clear, and now let's start to code. We follow the same input statements of the previous question and we declare a for loop in the range of size of the list obtained. Declare a value which is equal to 0. The reason behind declaring a variable value is that this variable is the array element which should be stored and printed in the final output. Thus, this variable equals the least value which references its particular index. So, we again declare a for loop from the range of the new index position to the last and final array index position. We check whether there is a smaller element and initialize the variable value to the smaller element, and we store the variable to the empty list which we have declared. Else we initialize the variable value to -1. Thus we print the elements in the list and we submit the code. Don't forget to check this code which we have programmed in the description below, and if you face any problems or queries, don't hesitate to contact me through Gmail which I have attached below. And if you are new to my channel, please subscribe my channel and click the bell icon to receive regular updates. Thanks, and we'll meet soon in another video.